You've officially tuned in to the Epiphany Podcast, and I'm your host, Joanna Lynn. Thanks for joining me on my journey of spiritual growth, restoration, and most importantly, transformation. You've got a front row seat, so take my hand as we journey together. We're on the Epiphany, y'all. Hey everybody, it's your girl Joanna Lynn, and we're here for the Epiphany Podcast. This is episode number 48. This week's episode is titled, Give the Devil His Job Back. Okay? Do y'all need me to repeat that? Give the devil his job back. Give it to him. Give it to him. Let me tell you why I say that, and let me tell you why I'm actually really excited to talk about that. Because I feel like in life, we are making the devil's job too easy. Instead of combating him and condemning him and fighting him with the word of God and with Jesus Christ, and instead of living life knowing that God has already won this battle and that there is no battle for us to fight, knowing that we are already victorious, we've already won. The end is going to be the same no matter how many twists and turns we go down getting there. The end result is the same because Jesus has already defeated death, hell, and the grave. We know that. But we make the enemy's job so easy. And you know how we make it easy? Because we out here doing it for him. We out here doing the devil's work, y'all. We're doing it. And let me tell you why. In so many ways. We do it to ourselves. We're doing his work in our own lives. We're doing his work in the lives of the people we love. And we're doing his work in the church. Let's just be real. It's the reality that nobody wants to talk about. When you go into life every single day and you think negatively and you allow negative thoughts, let me tell you something. So I know I talked to y'all about how I had COVID, and so being home, there were a lot of thoughts running through my mind. A lot of thoughts about me being unworthy, a lot of thoughts about me being guilty, about me feeling shame, about me really just ultimately being unhappy with where I am in life. And that's just being real. We're all on a journey, and I am grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my family. But I just have to be vocal about the fact that I am not at a place in life that I want to be, not financially, not spiritually, not physically, not within my health, not within my mentality. Nowhere am I where I want to be, and I don't think any of us are. I think striving to be better, striving to consistently elevate and to flourish is a great thing. We should be reaching for success. We should be getting out there and making moves and doing things to better our lives and ourselves, to empower ourselves, to elevate and to magnify our families and God and everything. We should be. But the problem is when we make Satan's job easy is because we tend to look at where we are in life and feel like it's not good enough, and feel like we can't do something with what God gave us or where we are in life right now. We're so focused on where we're trying to go that we forget where we are today. We're so focused on the bigger picture that we lose sight of what is right before our eyes. So things that really are intended to be a blessing, things that we prayed for, we now once have, are not good enough because we're on to the next motive. We're on to the next vision. We're on to the next dream. And I've been talking to y'all about being intentional, about setting goals, dreams, visions, intentions, resolutions, whatever you want to call them. But it's a very fine line between setting them and condemning yourself for not reaching them. And that's what I want to press on today, because when we get in that mind frame of condemning ourselves, my good friends at Five Seats Blog, if you don't follow them on Instagram and Facebook, go follow them. It's Five Seats Blog. It's a family of 5 siblings, great people, some of my best friends, my family. Their heart for God and their love for Jesus is just unmatched. So definitely go follow them. But they shared a post with a line from my book, Overcoming, and it said, "How may it be I have condemned myself?" That one line, and that is not a line in my book that I really thought somebody would pick out as powerful. But that's the thing about God and about your words. You never know what someone else needs to hear at that moment, or what they need to read, or what they need to speak on. And so that word was a line. It was a line in my book that really touched them. And with them bringing it up, it actually reminded me of where that line came from. I was heavy in worship one day, and I realized I kept asking for forgiveness. I kept asking God to cleanse me and to clean me from the inside out, to create in me a pure heart, oh God, to make me a right creature, to renew me or restore me. And I kept begging for forgiveness for all the wrong things I've done, for the lying and the cheating and the sin and the stealing and everything. I asked God to forgive me for all the bad things I'd done. But then I realized, the more and more I focused on, oh man, I'm 30. I didn't go to school. I don't have a career. I don't have this. I don't have that. The more and more I continued to beat myself up. The more and more I continue to condemn myself. I continue to put limitations on myself. I continue to deem myself not capable of surpassing the goal or meeting the expectation of who, though? Of me or of God? Did God put that on me? Did God condemn me, or was I condemning myself? And that was a really profound moment for me to realize that God had forgiven me. God had given me a fresh start. God loved me even before I realized that I was wrong. He loved me, flaws and all, mistakes and all, mess and all, everything I was, whether good, bad, ugly, left, right, up, down, everything. He loved me. He wasn't condemning me. I was condemning myself, because I felt guilty for what I had done. I felt to blame. I felt like things in my family life were my fault because I wasn't there. I wasn't attentive. I wasn't present. I felt all these things in life. I felt regret. I felt like I wasn't doing the things I was supposed to do. I felt like I was lacking and slacking and behind. And I feel like I'm steady trying to catch up in this race, and everybody had a head start. And I faulted myself for that, and I condemned myself for that, and I beat myself up night after night after night, and day after day after day. And then on top of realizing that I condemned myself, which was the first problem, because God didn't put those emotions on me. God didn't make me feel shameful or guilty, but I felt that way. So I condemned myself, right? Then I realized not only had I condemned myself, that I was doing the work of the enemy. I was making his job easy. Because see, he doesn't have to tell me that I'm not good enough, that I started too late, that I'm behind, that I'm working overtime, trying to get caught up just to the level of where people are who are my age and at this stage of life. He doesn't even have to show me that, because I keep elevating it. I keep highlighting it and making it relevant in my life. I kept saying, man, I want a family so bad. I have to get married. I have to have children. I want to buy a house, y'all. That is a goal. And it should be a goal of everybody, but that is a very large goal of mine. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, well, I need to wait until I get married, because that way me and my husband can make that decision together. One of my biggest dreams is to adopt. And I was about to start the process about 2 years ago. And I talked myself out of it because I said, well, it's difficult to find a spouse when you have children. And so maybe I need to wait until I get married so me and my husband can make that decision. Maybe I need to wait on someone to open this door for me, this window of opportunity. It's like I was just waiting and waiting and waiting to justify me taking those steps. But waiting on who? Like, first and foremost, and ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to know this too. A spouse does not define you. You don't need a spouse to complete you or to define you or to justify you. And I know that, but at the same time, all these things that I wanted in life, I didn't see myself buying a house as a single woman. I saw myself buying a house as a wife. I didn't see myself being a mother as a single woman. I saw myself being a mother with a spouse. I saw myself having a career, but not at 32. I saw myself going to school at 18. So because life didn't work out the way that I thought it should, I was consistently throwing these false images, these stock photos. Have you ever been on Google and you can search for what's called stock photos of just about anything? You can type family stock photo or Bible or whatever. And stock photos are just basic generic photos that you can use for, marketing, advertising, all types of things like that. But I had these images of what life was supposed to be and what I expected it to be. And so I was holding them over my head and in front of myself and comparing my life now as to what these stock photos were, what I expected life to be when I first started out. So because I wasn't where I wanted to be, I was constantly boom, boom, just beating down on myself. Bam, wham, beating down on myself. You're behind, Joanna. You're too old to go to school. You don't make enough money to buy a house, but yet you paying rent every month. You can't have a new car because the one you got is fine. You can't start a business. You can't run a business by yourself. What you look like adopting kids for? It's just you. They're going to need a father. All these things I felt like I had to have somebody validate me for, if that makes sense. So all these things I've been putting off, getting healthy, getting my life in order. It's almost like I was waiting for somebody to give me the green light or the approval to seek these things out. I didn't realize that it was just me and God, and that was enough. It's like I needed that third party to tell me it's okay. Go ahead. Seek it. Do it. Try it. Step forward. Step out on a limb. It's like I was waiting on somebody to tell me that it was okay for me to do. So in the process, I've completely been tattering my emotions, tearing myself down, beating myself up because I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And when I realized that the enemy wasn't even trying to get me anymore, because he had already trapped me in my mind. Because now he doesn't have to trick me or fool me into believing that I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough, because I already feel that way. So now that I already feel like I'm not beautiful, and I already feel that I'm not successful, and I already feel that I'm not worthy, and I already feel like I'm not intelligent, now that I already feel these ways, and I already think these ways about myself, now I'm going to continually remind myself this every time I go to make a decision. Every time I go to buy an outfit, I'm going to say, no, you won't look good in that. There's another plus size woman standing right beside you that actually is heavier than you are. And she's going to rock that dress. She's going to strut her stuff. She's going to walk down the street like a model, and you going to cheer her on and clap her on. Yes, ma'am. But Joanna can't wear that dress because Joanna's not going to look good. Joanna's skin is too pale. Joanna's hair is too thin. Joanna has made mistakes. Joanna cannot come back from all the bad things she's done. Joanna cannot. And it just turns into a broken record. And I tell myself these things. I was telling myself these things. I was holding myself back. So at this point, I've been doing the enemy's job for him. Old dude just probably sitting back, popping a bag of popcorn, drinking a beer, and watching me work. Because I am tearing myself up by believing the things that he's planted in my mind. And then not only had I believed them for so long, I kept fueling them. Every time, another thing when I thought about going to school, I said, well, I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to be in debt to get a degree that I probably won't even use. That's stupid. That's a waste of time, right? But Joanna, you already in debt. But Joanna, you're already behind on your bills, baby girl. Not to say it doesn't matter, but I mean, come on. At least this debt and these bills will be for purpose, for reason, right? Nah, Joanna, you can't afford a house. It costs too much money to own a house. But yet you spending your whole paycheck on an apartment rent. Throwing that money away month after month because they can kick you out at any time or it'll never belong to you. At least with a home, you're purchasing equity. You can turn around and sell it, fix it up, sell it, flip it, make profit. There's something to come from it. But see, when you constantly fuel yourself, fuel your mind and your spirit with those negative thoughts, you're doing the enemy's work. You're doing the enemy's job for him. To yourself, number one. But to your family and to your friends, when you're not encouraging, when you don't speak life into your children, when you tell them that they're getting on your nerves or they're acting stupid or whatever you may tell them in the heat of your frustrations, when you tell them that, you're doing the enemy's work for them. You're doing the enemy's work for him. When, like in my case, I say all day long that I want to lose weight, and God knows I really do. I want to be a healthier person. But yet I justify going through the fast food line every day. Every day I justify it. Oh, I'm tired. I don't have time to cook. Oh, eating healthy just costs too much money. Oh, such and such invited me out and I just cannot turn down their invitation. So I'm just going to go and eat all the bad food instead of ordering something healthy. But I justify my bad decisions and my wrongdoings, and I continue doing the enemy's job for him. Why don't we make his job harder? Why do we have to plant these thoughts and these barriers in our lives that make no sense? Why do we do that? It's almost like we're afraid to be happy. Maybe we're afraid to actually win. Maybe we're afraid of the power that we actually have within us because of God, because of Jesus Christ. Are we afraid of that power? Is it just too easy to believe his word and to have faith and to put it in action? Or are we so caught up in the world, so caught up in the world systems, so caught up in our own emotions and our own thoughts and our own feelings that all we focus on is what the enemy wants us to focus on? Is that it? Because just like I said a few minutes ago, Joanna's not this, Joanna's not that. Why am I putting all the focus on Joanna? Because God says, in your weakness, I will give you my strength. God will give me his strength. So why am I basing these decisions in life, these next moves, these next steps? Why am I basing them off of my own abilities? God didn't ask me to do that, y'all. God didn't ask you to do that. He didn't ask you to pick up that weight and carry it. He didn't ask you to bear that cross. He bared it for you. He bore it for you. Sorry. I'm a little, He bore the cross for you. He didn't ask you to carry that weight. But yet we conveniently pick it up. We pick up rocks and we pile up the wood and we carry and we make our loads heavier day after day. It's like we feel justified or, I don't know, empowered by showing the world how strong we are. But y'all, I don't want to be strong. I don't want to be strong anymore. I want to let God do that. It's his job. I want to let him do it. I don't want to keep doing the enemy's work. I want to fight him. I want to make it harder for him. So the next time he comes around, he's going to recognize who he's playing with. Y'all hear me? And I know I'm probably scattered today and I'm all over the place because I'm in a position of transition. And I'm just being honest with you. The things that God is revealing to me is very scary. It's exciting and I'm also nervous about it, but it's very scary. But at the end of the day, you have to trust God more than you trust the enemy. We have to quit making his job easy. We do. We owe that to Jesus. Jesus bled, was beaten, battered, scorned, bruised, spat on. Jesus dealt with it all so we could have abundant life, so we could live free from sin, free from guilt, free from shame, so we could live in total and utter health. That's what Jesus died for. Not so we could walk through life with our heads hanging down, feeling like we're not good enough, convincing ourselves that we're not capable of doing what God has called us to do. Well, I'm not doing it right. Or I'm not this, or I'm not that. God called you already. Just do it. Just do what he asked you to do. Have you noticed many times in the Bible when God tells you to do, he just wants you to do it. He doesn't want you to think about all the details and the hows and the whens and the whys, because he's got that covered for you. He didn't ask you to think about it. He asked you to do it. Oh, how Noah must have felt to build an ark, and the whole world thought he was crazy. What would have happened if he would have stopped for one moment and stepped back and looked at how crazy he appeared to the world, to everybody around him? What if he would have taken a step back and stopped focusing on what God asked of him and started to focus on what the people thought of him? What would have happened? Where would our world be? What would have happened if Jesus, in that moment before his crucifixion, if he would have asked God to take the pain away and asked him not to be crucified? What would have happened if Jesus chose not to be sacrificed for us? He knew it was going to happen. He knew what was happening. He was fully aware. And he trusted his Father to save all of us. But what if he would have contemplated? Or what if Jesus' anxiety would have taken over and he would have had a meltdown and flipped out, or a breakdown, and he wouldn't have showed up? What if he would have took off running and hid in the wilderness and never gotten crucified? Where would our lives be today? Where would we be today without Jesus? If he hadn't have made that sacrifice for us, where would we be? I mean, it's a simple question, but it's so complex. So complex. Because where would we be? I don't know. I don't want to think about what the world would be like without God. I don't want to continue thinking about what my life was like before Jesus saved me. I don't want to think about that anymore. If telling my testimony helps somebody, well, hell, I'll tell it. But I don't want to focus on that anymore. I want to move forward into all that God is calling me to. The abundance, the health, the wealth, the knowledge, the wisdom, the love, the peace, the joy. Every bit of it. I want every bit of the promises that God has spoken about and has written about. I want that. I don't want to keep doing the enemy's work. I don't want to walk around town or go to work or go to church with an attitude, pissing people off or causing people to not see who Jesus really is because my attitude is so ugly. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the stepping stone or the reason another person doesn't like Jesus because I wasn't a good enough example. And I also don't want to wear myself out thinking that I'm not good enough to be an example. God created you. You are beautiful, fearfully and wonderfully made. Do you hear me? Stop questioning if you're good enough to preach and teach and speak and share the gospel. Your life is a living, breathing testimony. If you believe in Jesus Christ and you know that he called you into this life and created you at this specific time for just a time as this, and you know that because you believe his word, you know that. So stop doubting. Stop believing that the way you wear your hair will have more impact on a life than the word of God. Stop believing that too much makeup or not enough makeup or the wrong dress or the wrong season or the wrong song. Stop believing that all of those things can control the will of God, the Spirit of God, and the heart of God. None of that matters. When God wants to move, God will move. When God wants to use you to do his work, he is going to use you, no matter the time, no matter the place. All you have to do is be willing. But what I'm asking you to do today, I'm saying this to myself, please know that I wouldn't ask anything of you or preach or teach or talk about anything to you that I'm not talking about to myself. And I'm just being real. Half the time I record these podcasts for y'all and I go back and listen to it for myself. And I be like, dang, girl, you got to do that. You talking to yourself, girl. I swear sometimes I feel like the whole reason I record this podcast is because God is talking to me. And I'm so focused on him because every night that I sit here speaking and talking is because I've prayed. And I've asked God for a word that his people need to hear. And I'm his people too. So sometimes he's talking directly to me. And that's cool. But I want you, along with me, to stop allowing the lies of the enemy to take root and to have power in your life. And I want you to focus on the one true living King that is your Father and that loves you and cares for you. Okay? We're on this journey together, y'all. But let me tell you something. Give Satan his job back. It ain't yours. Quit doing that man work. Quit it. Stop it. Stop being ugly. Stop being hateful. Stop being hasty. Okay? Let that devil have his job and you go do the work of the kingdom. You know what you're called to do. I'm not playing with you. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and check out for the night. I love all of y'all so very much. I cannot tell you how much it means to me to spend just a little bit of time with you each and every week. I ask that you continue to share the podcast. Leave me 5 stars. Leave me a review. Also, please, if you haven't got your copy of Overcoming, go ahead and support your girl by ordering her first book and share it with somebody else. The website that you can place your order for Overcoming is www.iamjoannalynn.com. Love y'all so much. Y'all have a great week.